Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato SammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato SammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato SammaSambuddhassa. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami, Dutayampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dutayampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Dutayampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami, Tatayampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Tatayampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Tatayampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayada Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayada Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayada Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. So now get yourself ready for the meditation. I hope everybody is well. I hope Hanukkah in England there is not too sleepy. Sounds like you've been up all night. So, and hope everybody is nice and rested after some sort of break, maybe from your work. So now all you need to do is practice the methods, the meditation methods. Just make the effort. And when you're making too much effort, then you relinquish the effort. But we'll be talking about that more from next week onwards, when we talk about the faults to be relinquished in meditation practice and the antidotes to apply to help us to do that. So now gently close your eyes. Relax your face, placing your top tongue, or your tongue on the top, just above your top teeth. Your top tongue, like we've got more than one tongue. Hopefully not. Just on the upper palate of your mouth, with your lips gently touching. Now bring your mind to your body, your feet initially, and release the tension from your toes, from the balls of your feet, from the arches and the heels. Now from the top of your feet, and around your ankles and Achilles tendons. From your lower leg, your calf muscles, your shins, and all around your knees. From your upper leg, the quads at the front and the hamstrings at the back. And also release any tension from your midsection, from the glute muscles, the hip flexors, the groin. Your lower stomach, on and just above your hips, and your lower back. Further up your stomach, your sides, and to the center of your back. And now release the tension from your chest area and underneath your arms and your upper back. The lateral muscles and the rhomboid muscles that are on each side in between the shoulder blades and the spine. And now release from your upper trap muscles that run between the neck and the shoulders, as well as your shoulders. If you find it a little bit difficult to release the tension from these areas, which is actually quite common, then maybe you can manipulate your body a little bit. Just move your shoulders a little bit. Maybe stretch your neck each side. Release from your upper arms, your biceps and triceps, as well as your elbows, your forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, and thumbs. And now bring your focus up to your neck, the front, sides, and back of your neck, and release any tension you may have there. From the back of your head and the sides of your head, around your ears and temples. Now focus on releasing the tension from your face, around your cheekbones and cheeks. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw. From your chin and from your mouth. nose and sinuses, eye sockets and eyes. And from your forehead, make sure you're not frowning. And from the crown of your head. Now briefly scan your body again from the tips of the toes to the tips of your fingers and to the top of your head, just to see if you can release any more tension. And when you are ready, bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose. And the object of the meditation is the feeling of your breath as you breathe in and out. As you breathe in your nose, the air is quite cool as it passes your throat, then it passes your chest area and enters your lungs. They expand, and due to this, your stomach rises a little bit. Then, as you breathe out, the stomach drops as the lungs compress, and the air passes your throat. It's quite warm now as it leaves your nose. Just breathing in and breathing out. We are sentient beings, which means beings with a mind, thought processes, mental sensations and the like. So thoughts and sensations will arise. The thing is, you need to not cling to them. So don't cling to any thoughts that arise or any mental sensations that arise. Just let them come and go naturally. Don't grasp at them. But also don't try to forcefully push them away, because this is more mental activity that you're adding to it. In Buddhism, we say, stop at the first thought. Don't add thoughts to the one thought. As it arises, let it go. Also, don't deny or try to deny or kid yourself that the thoughts are not arising. Some people think meditation is about having no thoughts, but if we had no thoughts or no mental sensations, then we would not be sentient beings or human beings. We would be just like a rock or dead wood, which is not the case. I just share with you briefly now. Many years ago, I was teaching a 6-week course at a temple in Melbourne after being invited to do so. And the 6 weeks was meditation on the 5 skandhas or aggregates. First week was the introduction, and then we spent a week on each one of the skandhas, on the form, the feelings, the thoughts, the impulses, and consciousness. Now, on the second week, this Australian guy came along, really nice guy, and I said to him, oh, it's a pity you missed the first week, but I'll try to catch you up, because last week was the introduction. And I said, for me to get to know you, what is it? Are you interested in Buddhism? Why are you interested? And how are you interested? And he says, I want to be like Buddhists. I want to have no thoughts or no feelings. And so I asked him whether he wanted to be a rock or dry wood. And then explained to him that actually we always have thoughts and feelings as sentient beings. And as mentioned before, the idea is not to cling to them, not to grasp at them, not to deny them or try to forcefully push them away. So having said that now, let's meditate for a few minutes in silence, applying the correct method correctly. If you become distracted with thoughts or mental sensations of any type, just relax your mind and refocus on your breathing process. feeling of your breath. And if you start to become dull and sleepy, just wake yourself up ever so slightly by refocusing more brightly on your breath. Okay, so now you can feel very pleased with yourself. Not from an egotistic standpoint, but just rejoice in the fact that you've engaged in this practice. Even if we meditate only for a minute or a few minutes, and we just did actually a little bit more than normal for this class. We actually did about 5 minutes then, but even if it's only such a short time, like I said, even a minute, this is still helping us, as long as we don't attach and get used to and only do the minute in the future. We can always benefit From any time that we concentrate the mind, this undoes the habit of having a distracted mind and a dull mind, at the same time creating the habit to have a concentrated mind and a joyful mind. Fill yourself with loving kindness. You can just work with the feeling of loving kindness, or if you'd like, you can use visualization and fill your whole body with like a white nectar or a white light. This loving kindness includes friendliness, harmlessness, honesty, forgiveness, acceptance, love and compassion, empathy. And try your best to do this practice now with a mind of equanimity, upekkha. To fill yourself with so much loving kindness, it now overflows from you and radiates initially to your family and friends, wishing that they are happy and free from suffering and that they are peaceful. And if you're using visualization in visualizing your family and loved ones in front of you, you can actually be quite creative and see them smiling. Or if any of your loved ones are struggling with aging or any illness or of some sort, then you can see them healthy and vibrant. Even though we are using a little bit of imagination there, really what we're working with is really loving kindness. The more we do this, the more loving and kind we will be. Now with this mind of equanimity, extend this loving kindness to include strangers, those you may know a little bit, like the person at the market or the shop, or the petrol station, or your neighbors that you don't know, as well as those people that you don't know at all. Gradually extend this loving kindness out further and further, now to include those you find difficult, those people you find irritating, maybe even call enemies or adversaries. Wish that all these people have happiness and the causes of happiness, that they are free from suffering and the causes of suffering, that they are peaceful and their environment is peaceful and those around them are peaceful. Radiate this loving kindness further and further like a tidal wave of loving kindness to now include all of the sentient beings in your immediate area, around your house, in your gardens, around the temple, and the suburbs that you live in, the city or the country area. And gradually radiate further and further to include your whole state or your county. And other states and counties, your whole country. And other countries close by and those you are familiar with, as well as those that are far away and that you're not familiar with, until loving kindness pervades the whole planet. May all the beings, the innumerable beings, may they all be happy and free from suffering. May they all be peaceful. Those beings that are in what we call the lower realms, or the suffering, very much suffering realms, may they be freed. May they take on the human form or a heavenly form and be in the conditions that they can practice the Dharma. May those that are practicing the Dharma, may they realize the path and the result of the path. May they attain liberation. May we all living beings on this planet, at some stage, eventually attain liberation from samsara, from the cycle of existence, attain enlightenment. Extend this loving kindness and have the likewise feelings for all the living beings in this solar system. What wonder, universal loving kindness pervading the whole solar system. And all of the solar systems within this galaxy, and all of the galaxies within this universe, and all of the universes throughout infinite space, as well as infinite space itself. Unlimited, immeasurable loving kindness pervading everywhere. And now be present here and now at the same time, and we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. So while maintaining a very peaceful, clear mind, I'll give a little talk on Happy New Year. Now, we've already extended love and kindness. You should be feeling very pleased with yourself. Like I said, not in an egotistical way, but in a way that is based on equanimity, on non-biased mind. A non-biased mind is a mind that is free from attachment and free from aversion. And so, Happy New Year. Times like this, I think, as well as other significant days, or what we feel are significant days, such as birthdays or religious days, for instance, in Buddhism, especially Vesakha, and also other dates, such as the first turning of the wheel of Dharma Chakra Pavatana. And so these special days, we have many of them, of course, in Buddhism, and the different traditions have their own as well. So all of these days, including this Western or solar calendar New Year that we have now, are days that I believe we can reflect more. We should utilize them just to check what have we done in the last year? Have we practiced Dharma well enough? Have we done the best we can? And then to realize that it's already gone. Now, let's say, for instance, we have engaged in some unwholesome actions, or maybe we've continued some unwholesome habits of ours. We have to realize this is in the past. So don't feel down about it. Just be aware of it, recognize it, and then say to ourselves, okay, I kind of have regret for that, or some sort of remorse, positive remorse for that. And I'm going to make the resolution not to engage again in these actions. Let's say that we've been quite selfish on occasions, self-centered throughout the past year or so. at different times, which of course in the time of the global pandemic could be often, because we're thinking of our well-being, we're thinking of our family's well-being, our loved ones. We don't want them to get this virus and so forth, but we're only thinking of our own family. So now we can think about it. We can say, from now on, from this new year, from this day onwards, I'm going to benefit others more. I'm going to be less self-centered. I need to be more compassionate, more loving, more friendly. And then we will make the choice to do that. And just remind ourselves peacefully, never get down on yourself, but remind yourself peacefully to do this every day, not just on the special days now, not just on your birthday, not just on the solar new year, not on the lunar, just on the lunar new year, or in some Buddhist countries, the birth of the Buddha, the time of the enlightenment, not only on these special days. Obviously, say for Christians, not just on Christmas or Easter. And the same goes for the people that practice the other religious traditions. We should do it every day. In the morning, we should check our mind. During the day, we should check our mind. And just before we go to sleep at night, check the mind. Let go of the past. Stop planning for the future and live in this present moment. Now is the time. For actually, we have no other time. Past is gone, future's not here. And each moment we call the present is fleeting as well. So try to remain, we can say in the present, but maybe a better way is just remain present in the present. So I think that's really important. We can all improve, we can all be more compassionate, more friendly, more kind. We can give up our biases. There's certain, like in the metta bhavana, or the love and kindness meditation, we start with family and friends because it's quite easy for us to be kind to them. Then a little bit more difficult because we don't normally care too much about the strangers, if at all. And then, of course, those people we find difficult, it's quite difficult for us to be kind to them. Actually, the initial part of the loving kindness meditation is kindness to yourself. And that's even difficult sometimes. So you need to fill yourself with appreciation and respect for yourself and loving kindness for yourself. Then you can work with the other ones. But eventually, this idea of our loved ones or friends, the strangers and the enemies, actually is only made up in our mind. We're the ones that have created the habit of having attachment to certain types of people and having a lack of care for other types of people and other creatures, other sentient beings too, as well as having a dislike, at very least, for those we find difficult. So we can also make the effort for us to not continue the habit of being biased, that we can start to let go, start to recognize this, I'm getting irritated at this person or that person or this group of people. I need to let that go. That's, of course, doesn't mean that you condone any bad behavior, but also you don't get affected mentally, emotionally by this type of behavior, as well as not getting attached to those things that you find pleasing all the time. Rejoice in them. Rejoicing is different to attaching to pleasure, to sense pleasures. So that's, I guess you can call that the New Year message. So let's have a look at it, these words. New or happy, new year. Now, I just mentioned before I talk about that, I don't have any countdown on the screen again, as I did 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if anybody has, I've got 2 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to keep going today, okay? Because last time I think maybe we could have gone a minute or so longer, I'm not sure. So I'll keep going, I may get cut off. So happy. We all want happiness. Every living being wants happiness. But we need to engage in the causes of happiness. And to do that, we need to know what they are. And of course, we've been talking about this now for weeks and weeks and weeks, about the different mental factors and so forth. So obviously, what causes happiness is generosity, morality, meditation, patience, enthusiasm and effort, wisdom, and so forth. All of these virtuous qualities of mind. We need to engage in that to realize the happiness. And we need to help others to realize the happiness too. And so then, of course, initially, before we do that, we need to avoid the causes of unhappiness, avoid the causes of suffering, such as ignorance, attachment, aversion, jealousies, and the like. New, the second word in Happy New Year. New, what does it mean? We think things are new. You could kind of say that things are always new. Each moment is new, but not new as separate. You could say everything is empty of newness, to make up a word. There's nothing new really, is there, in cyclic existence? Because something that we regard as new, or something that is a beginning or starting, is a result of something finishing. The cycle continues due to cause and effect, the law of karma, due to karma and vipaka, and the conditions. So that covers new. Year. What is year? Time. The Buddha said there's only 3 times: past, present, future. As mentioned before, past is gone, present is fleeting, future, actually the future never comes, because the future moments are then in the present. So once again, you could say this is a very brief teaching on emptiness, or no self, anatta, or shunyata. Because time is always in motion, and therefore, because the past is dependent on previous times before that, the present is dependent on the past, and then the future is dependent on the past and the present. They're just concepts of the mind. They're not real. But we cling to that. Let's say, for instance, you are dwelling on the past, maybe some negativities from the past, or even the positive things that you're attaching to from the past. They're already gone. This is only happening because of your mental habits, the attachments, the aversion. We can decrease this, eventually eradicate it. Planning for the future. Yes, in the worldly way, we need to plan for the future. We need to plan what we're going to have for dinner, for instance. We need to make sure we have the ingredients and the time to make it and the time to eat it. But this planning, attaching to these plans. What happens if all of a sudden you go in the fridge and all of your food is off because the electricity went off or something? You can't have that anymore. You have to have something else. So don't attach to it mentally. Don't cling to it. I like to say the more the mind is closed through attachment and aversion, if I can use my hands, the more it becomes like this. But the more we let go of it, the more freedom we have, the more we can accept what is around us, what we can accept ourselves. So Happy New Year. In Vietnamese, Chúc mừng năm mới. I forget what it is now. Ashin in Myanmar, I have to be honest, when I sent you the Happy New Year in the Myanmar language, I looked it up on Google. So, but at least now I know it. And I forget in some other languages. I've actually learned it in some other languages. In the language of the country I was born in, Wales, it's Bloyd the Nuada, which is backwards to English. Da means good. Nuid is actually very similar to the English and the Latin. and Bloiden means year. So year, new, good. So, and of course, there's, I think if I look at the screen here, I can see Lebanese, Aussie, Aussie for British background. Yeah, and then of course the Welsh covered, Vietnamese, Indonesian Aussie, Sri Lankan Aussies, Ayubowan, healthy, long life. And I think that's wonderful. I think that maybe we can see each other as an example of the diversity, but also the commonality as well. All of the living beings, we can see that there's many differences, but the commonalities, the similarities are far more. We all want happiness, we don't want suffering. We all have the ability to attain enlightenment if we understand the methods to be practiced, as well as implementing those methods accurately and correctly. We have all of this. We have these bodies. We all kind of look the same. We have eyes and nose and mouth and ears. We all have parents. We all have other kind of relatives around us, both immediate and distant as well. We have all of the other organs, the 40 or 41 organs in the body as enumerated by the Buddha. We have the heart, lungs, and so forth. We all have these things. We have blood. So I think if you can yourself, we can give up the biases, saying, oh, my my language is the best. My religion even is the best, or whatever. And just let go of these concepts, let go of these attachments to things. Otherwise, it's kind of like we're arguing with other people sometimes, saying, my daddy is taller than your daddy. Or that's kind of like saying, my God's better than your God, or my Buddha's better than your Buddha, or Buddha's better than God, or anything like this. It's just, it's a bit silly, really, unless it's utilized to help each other and have more understanding. And, like, for instance, let's say your country is in the Olympic Games. You want your country to win. You don't want the other countries to win. Or maybe there's a few other countries that you have attachment towards. You want them to win gold medals. But let's say you don't like certain countries. You don't want them to win. And maybe it makes you even angry if they do. This is kind of, it's not necessary. And it's the same, like in Australia, we have different types of football. But let's say in Melbourne, for instance, we have Australian rules football. And it's all over the country as well. But it's a big, big thing here. And a lot of people, Leanne, you support Richmond. So if Richmond win, you get happy. Richmond lose, you get unhappy. But actually it doesn't really matter. Because these days those players come from all over the country. They don't come from that suburb. So, the parochialism is not really necessary. Or if we see a flag of our country, maybe we go like this or like this, but see the flag of other countries, you don't think about it. Maybe some other countries, you want to burn them. This is coming from our own mind. So we can actually be less biased over time. I think that's really my message, is for us to develop more of a mind of equanimity. When we do that, our loving kindness can become immeasurable. Our compassion can become immeasurable. And our empathy and caring towards others can become immeasurable. And so, Happy New Year. Adopt the causes of happiness, abandon the causes of suffering. New, nothing new. Just another moment in time. Of course, sometimes people would like to party on New Year as well. Maybe for that time they have a lot of fun, but next morning they wake up not happy. So maybe that you can call that a not happy New Year. So we also need to actually regulate our behavior, not go too far with things, not be obsessed with trying to get happiness and trying to relieve suffering. And then the word year, once again, Just another moment in time, really. In the solar calendar, it's 365 days. Each day has 24 hours. Each hour has 60 minutes. Each minute has 60 seconds. Try our best to maintain the pure intention in every moment. Try our best to engage in the causes of happiness. Try our best not to engage in the causes of suffering. And don't get down on yourself if you don't do it well. Just improve all the time. Each time we can learn to do it better. On occasions, as we move forward on the Dharma path, walking, occasionally we go backwards. We make some mistakes. Just like if you were riding a bike and you were riding along a path and then you fall over, either because you were not being careful or because there's something happened in front of you. Maybe a rock was there and you didn't know. So, and then you get down. Maybe you hurt your knee or something a little bit. Do you just stay there? Or do you go backwards? No, what you do is you get up, you have a look to see if you've hurt yourself, you brush it off a little bit. If you have some antiseptic, maybe you put a little bit on there, or if you have a band-aid, you put a little bit on. And then you continue riding to go to your destination. Same on the Dharma path. On occasions, we may make mistakes, but don't let that discourage you from continuing onwards. Undaunted. The word undaunted means nothing's going to get in your way. You may have to stop for a rest. You may have to sit down for a while. You may even go backwards a little bit, but continue onwards undaunted. So I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I haven't been cut off yet. Maybe I think the longest Dharma talk that I've given is a few hours, or maybe 4 hours or something. So I won't keep you for 4 hours. The longest Dharma talk I ever attended was with Lama Zopa Rinpoche and the Tibetan master, 7.25 hours. And I'll share, it's a funny story because when I was going there after teaching 2 Dharma classes. In those days, we were doing the Dharma classes at Yunyang Temple. And so teaching two classes on the Saturday afternoon. And then I went to his Dharma talk in the evening. And before I went in there, I drank some coffee because I was a little bit sleepy. And I really liked this teacher's teaching. So I wanted to be really alert to listen. And I reckon I was in there about half an hour and I needed to go to the toilet because I drank too much coffee. But he's a very popular teacher. So I had to stay in there. I couldn't go to the toilet. Otherwise I would be disrupting other people, walking over them almost. So I had to stay there. And that was actually good for my practice because I put up with it, dealt with it, and continued to focus on hearing his voice and the teachings. And so that's the longest Dharma talk. He just kept going. I thought, oh, this is going to finish it started at 7 o'clock. It's going to finish at 9. I'll be okay. And then 10 o'clock came, and then 11 o'clock. And actually, no, it started at, I think, 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So it went to like 1 o'clock or something like that. I can't remember the times exactly. So I won't put you through that. And maybe we can finish now. And then I just share with you into the future that we start talking about those details of meditation practice over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Depends how quickly we get through them. I've already prepared. I've already meditated on it actually and wrote myself some notes. And then we will talk about after that the 18 dhatus, so the 6 senses, 6 sense objects, and the 6 consciousnesses. And then we will go on to another subject after that. Now, also, I know that we've been talking a little while about doing a second class, questions and answers, and leaving all of the microphones open. And I still want to do that. I just haven't implemented it yet and organized it with Leisha, who is the host, or Leanne, who's the new backup host, okay, when Leisha's busy. So we will talk about that in the very near future. Ashin, I know that Venerable Ashin from Myanmar has requested that recently to be able to ask questions. In the meantime, before we do that, I'll say this, that I'm going to make the effort to do that before the end of January. And but before that, if you want to, as you've done, Ashin, then and other people as well, if you want to ask questions, then write it in Messenger if you're international, or email. I can give you my email address if you like on Messenger. And those of you living in Australia, give us a call or text message me or some way. Never feel shy to do that. My whole life is about practicing the Dharma, studying, practicing, and teaching the Dharma. And of course, I have to eat and sleep as well. But I try my best to maintain the Dharma practice during these periods as well. Okay, so we'll see you later now. It's almost a 1 hour class. It's really good. That's about half of what I'm used to. So be well, practice well. In those places, especially that have a lot of COVID cases, really be safe, and try to encourage others through your actions to be safe as well. I know my mum and myself, we are constantly wearing masks and in public, not only for our safety and help others, but also because people are becoming a little bit lazy in doing this. And hence there's more cases now coming in Sydney and Melbourne again. Because people's behavior spreads this. People moving around, people's arrogance, actually, unfortunately, helps to spread this virus. The virus itself doesn't go anywhere. It actually is just virus. It relies upon people to spread. And so to always be careful, but not paranoid or fearful, but responsible, with a calm mind, with a kind heart. Then you're able then to be a good influence on others, even if they don't like. I think that some people don't like that we're wearing masks, because maybe what happens is it makes them look at themselves. They don't realize that, and then they get angry at it. They maybe even try to make fun or something. Don't let that put you off doing the right thing. Okay, it's very important. It's so simple, actually. I know that a lot of people have been complaining about restrictions and things, but it's so simple. Wash your hands, whether it's, wash them properly with the good soap or the gel stuff and hand sanitizer, and try your best not to touch your face too much in between. And then also just covering that like that. It's so simple. A little bit uncomfortable when it's warm, or if you're walking fast or exercising, but it's actually a very simple thing. I don't know why people are complaining so much. And then the other things are to distance. We are social creatures. We want to hug each other. We want to get close to each other a lot. Do that with your heart at the moment, not physically, because you never know. And I'm sure that nobody wants to be that person that is going to spread this, especially to vulnerable people that could very easily die. Okay, so be loving, be kind, be responsible. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya.